I'm gonna be doing. I'm kind of in the middle of LPs right now. I don't really know what to do, so I'm gonna be doing this, which is just my impressions, my thoughts, my opinion type videos where I just talk and you just listen. You know, that kind of stuff. So the first one, I wanted to keep Pokemon related. I'm not saying they're all gonna be, but this one is. And so I think a little while ago now, because I've been trying to make this video for forever, but a little while ago now, I think someone leaked that the magazine that gives the Pokemon leaks is going to announce a new main series game on May 21st, so in like a day. So right before Super Topical, just to say, this is my top 5 of what it could be. From order from least likely to most likely. So without further ado, let's get started with number 5. A remake of Gen 1 or Gen 4. Now, I've heard a lot of people want this, especially Gen 1, but I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I don't know what they would call it. I do see them making one eventually, but right now is not something they're doing. I think it would be interesting, and I think what they would call it be equally interesting is what they call it, like Blazing Red or Forest Green, or would they just go Blue and Yellow? Maybe, I don't know. Gen 4, they just did a remake, so I think overall they should really slow down remakes. Now, yeah, so the higher you get up on this list, the more I have to talk about, because the more likely it is, the more clues I have to it, and the more logical the conclusion is. But number 4 is Generation 8, or 7. Generation 8's not off the table. Generation 7. Now, I know there's never been a game where they haven't released a follow-up, at least one, sometimes two, but I do think it was worth mentioning that it could be a completely new one. Personally, I think it would be interesting. I would like it more than some of the other things on this list, like the last one and the next one coming up, but it is very, very unlikely, and I really don't think it would be a good idea to just scrap Gen 6, because it wasn't like Gen 6 was like a flop. Gen 6 did very well, especially X and Y. Speaking of Gen 6, number 3 is Pokemon Delta Emerald. Now, Delta Emerald I put on this list this high, which is like mid-list, so not super high, but in the middle, because I think while it's not creatively, it doesn't make sense to make it. Creatively, it doesn't make any sense, but monetarily, it does, because people would buy it. Now, if the Delta episode wasn't such a big deal in the first game, this would be higher on the list. But as it stands, there's really nothing much they can do with Emerald that they haven't already done. Which sucks, because I like Emeralds. I like it better than it being Sapphire. But one thing I would like to see if they did do this is, say, they made it a bit harder, like they made it more difficult, and less easy and boring than the Oras was. But yeah, so number 2 is X2, Y2, or XX and YY, something like that. Just a double sequel to X and Y. Couple reasons why I say this is because why it could be this, and I know I pretty much gave away what number 1 is, but the reason I say this is I think with Black and White 2, they saw a real interest in people in the story continue. Now I know Black and White story was a bit more involved than X and Y's was. X and Y's was a bit more simple. I would like to see them, no matter what they do, if they continue with Gen 6, not remake the games and make a sequel. I would like to see that. Because it just seems that it's the logical thing to do. They did it with Black and White 2, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed continuation of the story. I do think one thing they could do here, which they missed out in Black and White 2, is add in your previous character as kind of like a red type final boss, which would be super awesome, because let's face it, that's just cool. And yeah, they don't have to talk like red, it'd be cool. It'd be very cool. I would also like them, if they were even to remake the games, flesh out Lysandre's motives a little bit more, because what happens here is he's like really ominous and kind of like mysterious at first. Then you do some stuff and he's just like, well, everyone, like, you know I'm evil, but everyone else doesn't, so I'm just gonna come out as evil so everyone else knows for no reason whatsoever. And I kind of hate that. I think it wouldn't have been good. One more thing. They could also add Mega Evolutions to Yveltal and Xerneas to make them the first 6th-gen Megas, but it would also be a very good step up in continuation, like the Kyurem forms from Black 2 and White 2. And now, finally, number 1, the one that pretty obvious, and a lot of people saw this one coming, Pokemon Z. Pokemon Z could be one of two things. Could be a sequel, even though it's only 1, it still could be a sequel. There's no reason why they couldn't do that. Would they do that? Maybe, maybe not. It's kind of up to what direction they want to take the sequel. If they want to take it in flesh out AZ story a bit more, or they want to take it where it's kind of flesh out Xerneas and Yveltal's backstory. Depending on that, they could take it either as a sequel or actually that's more of a thing if they want to split the games or keep them one. I would say if they want to they could split games to add depth to Yveltal and Xerneas. And with this one, what they really need to do in Pokemon Z is buff Zygarde. Even no matter what they do, they need to buff Zygarde, maybe give him a Mega. I do think they will introduce new Megas in this. I do think so, and I hope so. Even if they don't, even if it's just a remake, or I hope they do introduce new Megas. A couple things I don't hope for this game is it's not new 3DS exclusive. That applies to all of them. I'm just thinking of that right now. I don't know why it would be though, but just saying. Some things that would be good is I think Zygarde would be something that they could flesh out its backstory and maybe give it a bit more powerful. AZ, flesh him out, because he is a very cool character that is very underused. And I know his story kind of ended in X and Y, but stories never end. You just open a new chapter. So, yeah, you could really do a lot of stuff with him. You could tie him to Zygarde. You could have Zygarde never have a Mega Evolution, like, in prior years, but, let's say someone like Lissandre's minion or something like that. Like, maybe you want to go even far as to say that it's his son, like it's just that far in the future, but I don't think they'll do that. Reactivates and rebuilds the machine for destroying the Earth, and to stop it, and power it, he drains all the power from Xerneas and Meltal, making them like statuette husks. And Zygarde has to step in and be like, stop. And he absorbs all the power, and then you catch him, and then he goes to there, and then he absorbs the power, and he gets a Mega through it, where he just like completely bulks out, and like just gets awesome. Maybe he gets eyes, would also be pretty cool if he got some eyes. Maybe, I don't know, it's based off Norse mythology, so I don't know. I think maybe his Norse equivalent didn't have eyes, that's why he doesn't have them. But maybe he has eyes and I just never noticed it. Or maybe the Norse one doesn't, they're waiting for the Mega. But the main thing that needs to happen is Zygarde needs to be buffed. And basically anything that happens in X2, Y2 could also happen in Z. So anything I said there also applies here. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you thought of this, and tell me other stuff, like that you liked it, with thumbs up. And yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna see you guys next time.